Hey, and welcome to Star Wars 101. Today I'm going to be talking about Jori and Gav Daragon, the ones who helped start the Great Hyperspace Wars. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below telling me what you think of their story. And with all that said, let's dive in.
Do it.
Jori and Gav Daragon have been dead thousands of years, but ripples from the events they set in motion still echo throughout the years to come for the Star Wars universe. Had they not accidentally led the Sith Empire into war against the Republic, the galaxy might have been spared the horrors of darthbane, Darth Sidious, Darth Vader, and many more Sith. During the Daragon's era, the Republic encompassed only a fraction of its current expanse. The slice between the Corellian Run and the Perlemian trade route grew wild out toward the rim, and most of the galaxy outside the slice was unexplored. Jori Daragon and her brother Gav worked as hyperspace trailblazers, seeking safe passages through the briar patch of hyperspace in their ship, the Starbreaker 12. The two operated out of the 7-planet Koros system, just inside the deep core from Coruscant. Their parents, Hawk and Tamar, had died running cargo to the outlying planet, Kirek, during the Koros Unification Wars. Jori and Gav were forced to sell their home in Sinagar on Koros Major when hyperspace mapping proved less lucrative than they'd hoped. Soon, they were deeply in debt to Arba the Hutt, owner of Arba's repair dock. Desperate for one big score, Jori and Gav leapt the Starbreaker 12 blindly into hyperspace. Both siblings had a minor degree of Force attunement despite their lack of Jedi training, and this sensitivity may have influenced their ultimate destination. The new hyperspace route, now known as the Daragon Trail, took them from Koros Major to Korriban, deep in the Sith Empire beyond the Perlemian trade route. The Daragons tried to establish trade with the Sith natives and their Force-wielding lords, but were captured and imprisoned. Sith Lord Naga Sadow secretly freed them, hiding them in his private fortress, then used their escape as a tool to fan Sith fears of a Republic invasion. Sadow gathered a vast war fleet and began to initiate Gav into the ways of Sith sorcery. Meanwhile, Jori fled back to the Koros system, inadvertently leading the Sith Armada straight to her homeworld because of a homing beacon she was unaware of. She arrived back in the Koros system, where the Empress Teta commanded a navy that was busy pacifying the system's 7 worlds, in the final stages of the Unification Wars. No one believed Jori's claims of an impending Sith invasion. Port officials arrested her on charges of fraud, felony, and starship theft. Eventually, she won an audience with the Empress Teta herself, whose Jedi advisors, including Mehmet Nadil, Odin and Odin master, Uru, recalled the stories of the outcast dark Jedi who had long ago vanished into obscurity. The advisors convinced the Empress to prepare for invasion. Empress Teta rallied support among other political leaders on Coruscant, while the Jedi Knights spread the word throughout the Republic. Back in the Sith Empire, Naga Sadow continued training his pliable captive, Gav Daragon. Sadow had consolidated the remaining Sith forces and set off on a surprise raid against the vulnerable Republic. His entire fleet arrived in Empress Teta's system, weapons blazing. Meanwhile, as Empress Teta prepared for war, rallying her troops and fleet, Jori was eager to find a ship, or at least a weapon, to aid in the defense of Koros Major. Odin gave her a lightsaber, and she left the Empress's palace to find a ship at Arba's repair dock. As she journeyed there, Sith ships attacked Sinagar, deploying land troops. Arriving at Arba's repair dock, she found Gav and his Misasi bodyguards standing over Arba's corpse. Jori assumed that Gav had slain Arba, and she attacked him and his bodyguards, but he managed to flee, using a Sith craft to return to a Sith battleship. Jori seized a ship of her own and followed him, but Gav's battleship jumped to hyperspace, bound for Primus Galud, where Naga Sadow had his flagship, a Sith meditation sphere, stationed. From his sphere, Sadow used Sith sorcery to generate illusions of additional Sith forces on worlds across the galaxy, as well as use battle meditation to influence battles. The conflict spread across the Republic like a storm, a succession of battles that pitted warfleets and loyal Jedi Knights against Sith sorcery and firepower. One of the young heroes of these battles was the alien Jedi Odin who would become a pivotal figure in the Sith War 1,000 years later. Empress Teta proved to be a talented commander, but the Sith were relentless and unpredictable, partly because Naga Sadow had only limited knowledge of this sector of the galaxy. The battles went poorly for the Republic. Finally, the combined Republic fleet made a stand around the flare-active red giant star, Primus Galud, where Sadow duped Gav Daragon into facing the Republic forces alone. Gav ultimately redeemed himself, switching sides against the manipulative Naga Sadow just before the star went supernova and he was incinerated. Sadow fled in his flagship as Empress Teta's forces hurled themselves after him. With the changing tides of the battles, the Republic rallied against the invaders, trouncing the Sith fleet. Mehmet Nadil and his team of Jedi Knights defeated enemy forces on Coruscant itself, while Odin won an important skirmish on the outlying planet of Kirak, a victory that cost the life of the great Jedi Master Uru. Naga Sadow called a retreat, taking his surviving warriors back to the Sith Empire. Limping home with tattered forces, Sadow returned only to discover that his old enemy, Ludo Kresh, was still alive and well. Sadow thought he had killed him before he left to defeat the Republic. Giving no quarter, Kresh mercilessly attacked Sadow's traitors. At this point, he had nothing to lose, and Sadow fought back with wild abandon. The pursuing Republic forces arrived in the middle of the fray to vanquish the Sith threat. They decimated the fleets of Sadow and Kresh in a hail of crossfire. Naga Sadow took his most faithful followers and made a second gateway in his damaged flagship, sacrificing the rest of his forces. Republic ships again pursued him, but Sadow made one last sorcerous gambit. He flew his warship between a tight binary star, the Denna Re Nova, and used Sith powers to manipulate solar flares that destroyed the Republic ships in his wake. Of all his former glory, Sadow was left with merely a single ship and his Massassi crew. The Dark Lord went to ground on a little-known jungle moon around the gas giant Yavin. There, on Yavin 4, he made his camp, entombed his warship, and left the Massassi behind as guardians. Using Sith technology and sorcery, he cocooned himself in a suspended animation chamber, hoping someone would pick up the dark teachings where he left off and bring about the Sith Golden Age that the Dark Lord Marka Ragnos had foretold. After her battle victory, Jori Daragon returned to the family trade as the new proprietor of Arba's repair dock. Odin had several interviews with Jori owing to the Jedi's interest in the Great Hyperspace War. With her help, the whole backstory of the war could be included in the Tedran holocron to reserve all information for the Jedi Order. So that's it for Jori and Gav Daragon's story and how they accidentally led the Sith Empire to the Republic, not knowing that in doing so, they would ultimately cause the Great Hyperspace War. But if you asked me, even if Jori and Gav hadn't leapt blindly into wild space, I think the Force would have found someone or something else to lead the Sith to the Republic, setting in motion all that has happened in the Star Wars universe. But as always, we'd love to hear your opinions in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below telling me what you think of Jori and Gav Daragon. And with all that said, have a great day, and may the Force be with you.